Good evening. Welcome to the October school board meeting. Everybody, please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Let's see. First thing on the agenda is we had an executive session beforehand for this meeting to discuss some legal and personnel issues. Secretary correspondence? Nothing? Legislative report?
Sure. The 2017-18 legislative session is in its very waning days, ends on November 30th. So the bills of note that are we're moving during September, and we hope to get some closure on this month, were in the House, Keystone exams, State Bill 1095. It passed the Senate 49-0. Is now is in front of the House, provides an alternative pathway for graduation for students who do not demonstrate proficiency on a Keystone exam. The bill was amended and passed out of House Education Committee. First consideration in the House was the 24th of September and is on the calendar for later this month. The outlook is good that the bill will pass the session the remaining days. Another House bill is employee notification, House Bill 2593 and 2571. These bills would amend the Public Employee Relations Act to require all public employees to notify their public employers of a right to remain or become a non-member of the representative employee organization. This is a very contentious issue, and with a few session days remaining, it's questionable whether or not these bills can get through the legislative process. The Supreme Court decision in Janus versus ASME addressed those issues. In the Senate, certificate grade spans, meaning certification, or you K to 2, 8 to 12, things like that for a teacher. The bill would establish in statute grade spans for typical types of instructional certifications a teacher preparation program may offer and the Department of Education may issue. The bill would change the grade spans of teacher instructional certifications that are currently established under the PDE regulations, i.e. pre-K-12 special ed certification with no additional content area required. And the outlook is, well, it's not impossible due to the Senate amendments, it would have to go back to the House for consideration before it was passed by the legislature. There is a study on school start times for all you middle and high schoolers. The Senate Resolution 417 was presented, and it requires that the Joint State Government Commission conduct a comprehensive study of issues, benefits, and options related to instituting a later start time to the school day at secondary schools. They think that this resolution will be likely approved. Again, this is just a resolution to study it. It's not saying that it will go into effect. And there is a similar resolution pending in the House. And then finally, this is a very positive one, mental health exams, Senate Bill 1181. The bill requires that mandated student health exams also include depression screening, starting with students in 6th grade, and require the medical professional conducting the screening report to the school district that the screening occurred. It passed the Senate 48-0 and is on to the House. And whether there's time to finalize it in the House is questionable. So those are the big touch points for the legislative action. And as I said, the legislature closes on November 30th, so there are very few days left. And we will have a few more updates in the November meeting.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have the Chester County Authority report. I'll be Carol Pomaccio. She's our representative to the Authority Board and former school board member.
Yes. Good evening. First of all, hello, Dr. Polobinsky, Dave Barrett, board members. It's good to be back. Thank you for having me. I'm on the Authority Board. And what is the Authority Board? Sounds punitive, doesn't it? Well, it's not. It's just simply, the authority board manages all the construction and renovation projects for the schools for Chester County, but not this school, and I'm going to have to dive into a definition of the authority board so you can understand this distinction between that. So a little background, the authority board is a body, corporate and politic, existing under the laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The Board of Authority has one member for each of the 12-member school districts, and I'm the one for Great Valley. The authority was incorporated in 1967 for the purposes of financing and constructing school buildings, and it continues on today. So each of the 12 school districts appoints a member to the Chester County School Authority for a 5-year term. So this Chester County Authority Board owns all these properties and school buildings, but not the Educational Service Center operated by the CCIU. And this includes, in Coatesville, the John K. Bailey Child and Career and Development Center, the Stanley K. Landis Building, the Chester County Learning Center, the greenhouses, the Career Center, the Operations Center, and the Daycare Center. In Jennersville, Pennsylvania, we own the Technical College High School Penix Bridge campus, the Transitional Learning Center House, the former Migrant Educational Office, and future division of Motor Vehicle Test Center. In Downingtown, the Technical College High School and Brandywine campus, Phoenixville, Technical College Pickering campus, and the farmhouse. So this authority board is a legal body. We have the ability to float bond issues, enter into contracts, solicit bids, et cetera, for school construction projects. But that's for these places that I've just mentioned, not Great Valley. You have your own facilities, people in place here. So we meet 3 times a year, and each representative is picked by the school board, and you have to be a resident of that district, and you don't have to be a member of the school board. But the representatives on our school board now, or on the authority board now, are mostly school board members and former board members, and some executives from the CCIU. So the renovations, we strive to keep it going, to offer more services to the district, and the best example is the Pickering campus that we have worked so hard, right, Mrs. Burrell, for the last 4 years, and it's done, and it's fabulous. I was up there, I had a meeting with the principal, Joe Fullerton, had a tour through it the other day, and I couldn't believe the difference in watching how it evolved, and it's just fantastic. So there's not much more to say about the authority board. That's kind of it in a nutshell. But I want to diverge a little bit. I want to do a shout out because the principal at the Technical College High School, Joe Fullerton, was very proud of 2 of his students who won awards. And one is Nick Hilton, graduate here in 2018, okay? And he's a graduate of the engineering technical program. He placed 3rd in the nation at the Skills USA competition in June. Very proud of him. And then Nia Rissick, the junior at the Health Center Pathways, won 1st place gold medal at the HOSHA conference in Dallas, Texas. And this is the first gold medal that any TCHS student has won at HOSHA. So that was a big deal, and boy, was the principal at Joe Fullerton really pleased, really happy. He was just beside himself with joy. And there's just not much more to say about it, but the things that are done at the Technical College, I'm sure Mrs. Burrell will keep you abreast of that. And, like we're partnering with Mainline Deputy Dog, and maybe training dogs for veterans. I mean, there's just all kinds of great things going on besides the technical end of it. And I could go on forever, but I'm not. So I think that's about all I have to say about the authority board. So I hope that gives you an idea of what we do in the shadows. So thank you for having me, and
No problem, thank you.
and any questions? No, Ellen?
I just want to say, Carol, thank you so much for your willingness to come back and do that. Carol also, not only was she previously on our board, but she sat on the CCIU full board like I do for Great Valley. And I can tell you that was a huge undertaking and a great gift. So it thrills me that you're back, and I can't wait until the next time, because I know some of the things that are coming up. So I'll be happy to let you report on them. Thank you.
Oh, you are welcome. I enjoyed being here and seeing everybody. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you.
Gonna go.
All right. Next on the agenda is a little more excitement for us. General Wayne students.
Good evening. My name is Abby Diamond, and I am the president of General Wayne Student Council. With me tonight is Christian Hall, who is the vice president, Raj Dillon, who is the secretary, and Nicholas Opelski, who is the treasurer. This year we are going to be very busy, and we are here to tell you about some of the upcoming projects. We had our first meeting at the beginning of October to meet all of the representatives in 3rd through 5th grades. We discussed the many responsibilities that come with serving as a representative. We met again to vote officer elections and to finalize some of the upcoming projects that we will describe to you today. One thing we are very excited about is many members of General Wayne Student Council will be representing us at the Great Valley Homecoming Parade on Friday, October 19th. We are planning to show our patriot pride by dressing like a Disney or Pixar character. You will not want to miss us on Friday night.
Our General Wayne Student Council has begun help to support our community. First, we will continue collecting snap tabs, those little silver things at the top of soda cans. We will donate them to Ronald McDonald House and to help families in need. Did you know that those snap tabs have more aluminum in them than the whole entire can? Second, Student Council worked hard to prepare supplies for General Wayne's annual soup night dinner. We took away time from our core extension and recess to wrap utensils and get the table baskets ready. We loved being a part of such a special night at our school. Maybe we saw some of you there too. Soup night is one of our favorite nights of the whole year.
Our student council planned Spirit Days to celebrate the week of homecoming. Today was pajama day. That can be why some of us seem extra sleepy tonight. And the rest of the week, you'll see the students at GWES dressed up like their favorite teachers, wearing their sports gear, having crazy hair, and of course, in our blue and white on Friday to support the Great Valley Patriots. Throughout the school year, the student council plans many different Spirit Days for the students. Last year, we had one a week, and it helped make our school such a fun and happy place to be. We can't wait to get started on that this year.
Looking ahead in December, our student council will hold a week-long sale of Jingle Bell necklaces. The funds we raise, we will give to help others in need. In the past, we have donated money to support the Juvenile Arthritis Foundation and the Ronald McDonald House. This year, the Care Starts Now is a foundation that is close to the hearts of our General Wayne students and staff. Last year, we raised over $400, which means we made over 400 Jingle Bell necklaces. Wow, that's a lot of bells ringing around the school. We are hoping to beat that record this year. If you would like to help us support a great cause, contact Mrs. Salvatico or Mrs. D'Ottavio. I'm sure they would be happy to send you a Jingle Bell necklace too.
Thank you for allowing us to tell you about General Wayne Student Council. We cannot wait to update you again later this year. Go Patriots!
All right, much more fun than legislative reports. All right, middle school.
Good evening to the board, Dr. Speaker Palbinski, parents, teachers, and Great Valley community members. I'm Megan Ramick, the 8th grade Student Council President.
I'm Sophia Geibel, the 8th grade Vice President.
I'm Lauren Frederick, the 8th grade Secretary.
I'm Mia Maslowski, the 8th grade Treasurer.
I'm Mason Sagarnik, the 7th grade President.
I'm Amit Keshet, the 7th grade Vice President.
I'm Gavin Source, 7th grade Treasurer.
At the beginning of the school year, Mason Sagarnik, the 7th grade President, and myself welcomed each of the grade levels to the new year. All the officers also informed them of the opportunity to volunteer in Student Council.
We have had one general meeting this year. The officers and representatives took oaths of office at the first meeting. We have about 105 total representatives for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade classes.
We also had our first dance on September 28th from 7:00 p.m. to 9:00 p.m. The dance had a fall theme and it was a great success. We had an extremely large turnout. About 325 7th and 8th grade students attended. In addition, we had Mr. Search DJ and the dance, and the PTO provided us with delicious food items. They are a tremendous help to the student council, and we thank all of the PTO members for their help and support. All throughout the month of October, the student council is hosting a pumpkin guessing game. Students can come to the main lobby in the morning and after school to guess the weight of a huge pumpkin. The entry fee will be 1 canned good. All the proceeds will go to a local food bank. The contest will end on Halloween. The closest guess to the weight will get to take home the pumpkin. We're hoping this is a huge success.
This week is Spirit Week. We have a different theme for each day of the week. Today was Breast Cancer Awareness Day. Students wore pink clothes to school to support the cause. Tuesday is Twin Day. Wednesday is Patriot Pride Spirit Wear Day. Thursday is Tacky Thursday, where students wear their craziest clothes. Friday is Color Wars. 8th grade will be black, 7th grade white, and 6th grade will wear blue. Overall, it's a fun-filled Spirit Week for everyone.
The middle school student council will march in the homecoming parade on Friday. We will dress in blue and white, and we plan on having 40 reps participate.
Student council officers prepare for the Pennsylvania Association of Student Council Conference hosted by Cedar Crest High School from November 8th to 10th. Officers will attend leadership conferences daily and interact with other officers from Pennsylvania. Middle school clubs also start in September. This year, the following clubs are offered: photography, kindness, robotics, anime, yearbook, reading Olympics, architecture, and chess club. On average, 30 students participate in each club.
The middle school musical is Into the Woods and will premiere in January at General Wayne Elementary School. Please consider attending this wonderful production. Also, the fall sports teams are wrapping up their seasons. All of the teams have had great seasons, and we are looking forward to winter sports. We would like to thank all of you for the opportunities you provide us with at the middle school. Thank you for your time, and have a great night.
Before you guys go, could I ask you a question? Did you say you have a new club called the Kindness Club? Could somebody tell me exactly what that is?
I think last year.
Can you use a microphone? Because I think the public might, everybody could certainly use any information on kindness in any way, shape, or form, but I am really intrigued by this club.
Yeah, well, I am not a part of it this year, but I am pretty sure that last year they gave out, like, some events that they did were giving out, like, letters of kindness to students on their lockers, like, so that when they came in the morning, they had, like, a compliment, like, either from the teacher or, like, kids in the club. And they also gave out, like, flyers that just, like, boosted people's confidence and, like, hung positive messages around the school.
So these are all things that you're doing with one another to improve the quality of one another's days. That is phenomenal. It really is. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
That's all good stuff.
All right, so before you grab your parents and run, I'll let Miss Phil, Millie Field, talk about what's going on at the high school.
Okay, so kind of similar to what the other officers have said with our Spirit Week and homecoming this week. And Ian went over the exact days last week for you guys. But today was Pajama Day, and we're looking forward to the rest of the week and the Spirit Days we have coming up. Student Council is also really excited for the basket raffle on Friday for the clubs at the football game, which will be the first year we're doing that. So we're hoping for a successful turnout and many community members to be participating in the club raffles this week. Last week, the sophomores and juniors took the PSATs, while the freshmen did a cybersecurity workshop, and the seniors had a meeting and took the traditional senior class picture in the football stadium. And also the fall show, Peter and the Starcatcher, will be next weekend, Friday, October 26th and Saturday, the 27th. And the play is created to be a prequel to provide a backstory for the life of Peter Pan. So tickets are sold online and also at the door. So we look forward to that and hope that we'll see a lot of people there.
All right. Thank you. All right, if you guys want to grab your parents and leave, you're welcome to leave. Or you can stay.
Yeah.
Nobody ever stays. All right, any other reports, anybody? All right, the recognition schedule for the remainder of the year is on there. Get it to come up here. Yep, next meeting. Next meeting will be a recognition meeting. Yep, next business meeting. All right, let's see, superintendent's report?
I shared last week the update from around the district, but this week I just wanted to highlight two of the issues we've been talking about, two of the plans coming up. We've already established the Great Valley Safety Council, and that meeting was held, and we had an update on that first meeting. The other two committee meetings, if you remember last January, we had talked about the need to establish a calendar committee. This would be an ad hoc meeting, meaning we'd bring people together to discuss the calendar with a recommendation to the board by December. So this will be a very short-term commitment for those that will be involved in the committee. I will be sending out the process for those that would be interested. We are again looking for parents representing each of our schools. We'll have a board member on that committee as well as teacher and administrative representation with the goal of looking at the survey data that we have from years past, as well as all of the conversations that we've had around calendar. The idea of the committee then is to present information to the board prior to December. It is not a decision-making body, as the calendar is decided upon and approved on by the board, but this is to provide that more comprehensive perspective on recommendations for what the school calendar will look like in 1920. So for the public to look for that announcement coming home for representatives who may be interested in being on that committee. The second committee, as we talked about, was how in years past we had a committee that was called the Equity Committee. We're looking at bringing back that committee as a community and culture committee to look at different ways we can really look at our community and find ways to include all pockets of the community in a really proactive, positive way. So again, we will be soliciting applicants or those that would be interested in being on that committee, and that is embedded into our comprehensive plan as well as into the district goals. So more to come on that. I just wanted to give a heads up. So as you're receiving invitations to apply for those committees, those are the purposes of the two committees moving forward. More to come on that.
All right. I'll now open up the podium for any public comments on any voting agenda items. All right, seeing none. First thing up is the consent agenda items, 701 through 716.
I make a motion to approve 7.01 to 7.16.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions on any of these?
I have questions on 713 and 716. I don't know if anyone has questions on the earlier ones. If not, I'll go forward. 713 is related to the Leslie Arsenault, who's helping with the statistics curriculum. We had quite a few students last week, and there was going to be a follow-up based on their questions. I'm just interested to know what that follow-up happened and what the next steps are for those students who came here and spent time telling what their concerns were.
Yes, and I can certainly, I was planning on doing that at the bottom of the agenda where it said response to the previous week's comments, but I can do it right now because it goes very nicely with our math consultant. Leslie Arsenault has been working with the district on a consultative basis for a number of years on many different programs. Mrs. Beck has reached out to Dr. Arsenault to work specifically with the statistics curriculum as to make sure that we're moving forward in a way that's really supportive to the professionals as well as the students. So this particular area of the contract is pulled out to work specifically on that work. In response to the statistics class and the information that was presented in public comment last week, Dr. O'Toole, Mrs. Beck, Mr. Flick all did go in and listen to the concerns of the students as was promised at last week's meeting, got additional information, and are working closely with the students in making sure that what they expected this experience was going to be like in the statistics class for this year is actually realized, at the same time keeping the integrity of the course, which is an expectation of a comprehensive statistics course at both the standards level. And the AP statistics course is in line with what has been done previously for AP statistics. So more to come on that. We will continue to update as adjustments are made. But that's why this line item is pulled out in particularly to work on that particular curriculum.
Thank you for clarifying
No
that.
problem.
My second question is very different. On 716, we're approving or being asked to approve a student overnight trip, which I am fully supportive of. It was a trip to Pitt related to one of the dual enrollment classes. And we actually saw, I think, pictures of that trip last week in the superintendent update. I am curious from a procedural point of view, why is it being approved now when the trip already happened?
When we went back to look, the trip was approved as an overnight trip, but listed on that approval that you approved over the summer, actually, I believe in August, only the big people or the professionals were listed. So from an auditing standpoint, I wanted to make sure that the students were also listed. That's why we put this on, so that you have the list of the names of the students.
Does that happen every time? Like
No.
Model UN, you don't know the students until you get close. So
But typically, we'll put a number of students on the approval. We did not do that for this Pittsburgh trip in August. So we
Okay.
just wanted to make sure we closed the loop. It's more for an auditing perspective, to make sure that we're dotting our i's and crossing our t's in the event that the cost is, if it is audited, there's a board approval that goes with that.
Okay, thank you.
The trip was approved. This was just making sure that the students' names or the students are listed there.
All right, any other questions? All right, all those in favor? Motion passes 7-0. Next thing up is the financial approval, agreement with the CCIU for medical access authorizations. Have a motion?
Move to approve 8.01.
Second? Any questions? All right, all those in favor? Motion passes 7-0. Personnel items? Motion for approval?
Move to approve 9.01.
I'll second that motion.
Any questions?
I just have to abstain from this vote. My wife's a teacher.
All right. All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0 with one abstain. The policies are on here for first reading, so we'll be voting on them for next month. There's a copy of the comprehensive plan draft. Anybody's got any questions on that? I think it was
Could
reviewed.
we, talk about the comprehensive plan,
Yes.
please?
As we talked last week, the process is that the comprehensive plan would be out for public review over 30 days. And we received two public comments. One of the public comments was dealt with the portion of the comprehensive plan that talks about the exploration of full-day kindergarten. The comment was, is the goal to just explore full-day kindergarten, or is the goal to actually bring information forward to make a determination regarding the implementation and full support of, or not, of full-day kindergarten? So in line with that response or public comment, I would propose that we make a determination as a board which direction you'd like the administration to move forward. We can certainly investigate and come back with a recommendation of what full-day kindergarten would look like to be implemented by 1920. And then the board can make an informed decision as to whether or not they would want that to happen. I don't believe the intent of the comprehensive planning team was to just spend 3 years exploring the possibility of full-day kindergarten. So it truly was to explore for a decision point, and that decision point would be dependent upon the board.
So I think the goal should be, and the rest of you can speak up differently if you think differently. I think the board needs a comprehensive plan, both educationally and community-wise, on what's needed, whether the community is ready for it, wants it, doesn't want it. I know there's been other communities around here that have looked at it. Some have gone with it full day for everybody. Some have not, for many different reasons, right? It's a community decision. Educationally, I think everybody can come up with education why to do it, and then the costs and the impact of any buildings or anything that might be. And obviously, that's going to take more than 1 week to do, so
Absolutely.
it's to do it right. Now, you mentioned 2020, or excuse me.
1920, which would be next school year.
Oh, okay. I thought you said 2020, sorry. Gotcha.
So we did a preliminary financial impact. The financial impact, if you remember, that was what we were asked to do, a feasibility study from a financial perspective. So what we will plan to do, if it is at the direction of the board, to put together a communication plan and a process plan for what that would look like moving forward, and we can have that to you at the beginning of November for our first meeting in November, and move forward with that to happen. So what I'm understanding is we've done the financial, we'll update that. We'll also have a communication plan to involve community and staff in that conversation, as well as what programmatically and educationally it would look like if we would move forward with a full-day kindergarten option or full-day kindergarten programming for 2019, 2020.
I'm going to just speak for myself. I'm absolutely behind that initiative. It has been something that we've said we were going to discuss and look into. It is critical that the community also weigh in from my standpoint. So yes, if you're asking for a direction, my personal recommendation is that we move in the direction that you want to move in.
I also would like to speak in support of it, and I like that you mentioned that you would involve the staff, because I would love to have the kindergarten, the elementary, and any teachers who are interested voice their opinions, because they're on the battleground. They're seeing. Also, just in general, I think that our population over the years has changed, and so while maybe 10 years ago a decision, or whatever, a decision was made in the past, I do think that we have more people coming into the district whose English is not a first language. And I think just being aware that our population has changed and being able to potentially offer something different, I think that should be weighed in our decision as well. But yeah, I don't think it's a done deal, so I don't want news to say we are getting full-day kindergarten, because we are not as of right now. We're just exploring the option, but with more.
With data.
Yes, with data. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Regina, would the information that you're going to pull together also include transportation? I know that there are always sensitivities around transportation of young ones, both coming and going to school, and I know that we provide it this way as well, as a half day. But I think that my experience has always been that people do have sensitivities about young kindergartners being on the transportation with the older kids. So I think that'd just be something to consider.
Thank
And maybe
you.
there's nothing different at all, but I think it's something that may come up.
And one of the analysis, Ms. Blake will be leading us through the SWOT analysis, looking at the strengths, the weaknesses, the obstacles. We'll be doing, and the threats. We'll be looking at this comprehensively. So what we will be sharing back with you is the plan moving forward. We certainly won't have all the information by the beginning of November, but we will have the comprehensive plan as to how we're going to get information. So thank you for that, and I'll include all of the concerns and the areas that we want to focus on, so we'll be able to make an informed decision. I'm really sensitive to the fact that if in fact we decide to move forward, we would need to make that decision with the budget, as we talk about the budget. As we talked about, there will be budget implications.
For the communication plan, do you plan to reach out to parents of our 0 to 5-year-old population to see if they'd be interested in this, or do we have abilities to reach out to those parents?
We do, and it's mostly through our, as we've started with the push out to taxpayers, it's a little more, it's not as seamless because we don't have people's email addresses as we do with the school messenger process, but we'll continue to try to publicize and get people to come. I believe multiple forums and multiple opportunities is the best way to go. Different times of the day, different days of the week, and different ways to communicate. So we'll be looking at gathering information in many different ways.
I think you're right on the money that as open and sort of robust a dialogue we can have with the community about this throughout the entire decision-making process is good, is the way we should be thinking about it. But I think the order that we tackle some of these other questions is important, meaning I would want our community to weigh in with their opinion based on the same facts and information that we're all sort of presented with and having our opinion. So I think this is going to be a popular topic. A lot of opinions are going to make our ears, and I want to make sure they're informed opinions that are basing their opinions based on the same information that we all have.
One of the benefits we have is there are neighboring districts that we work very closely with that have a lot of lessons learned. So we can learn from some of their missteps as well as some of their successes. So the administrative team is able to do a lot of reach out and get the possibly questions and ideas and topics that others wish they would have started with conversations.
So I wanted to comment, first of all, I'm very supportive of us exploring this. I think it's really important that we look at it and make an informed decision. And so I'm glad we're doing that. A couple suggestions, when we reach out to the community, I think we can go into community organizations like the Malvern Library, the YMCA, to find parents of young children who may not, we may not be able to reach out to, they may not have older kids. Additionally, I think it's going to be important to communicate. At what point would we know for sure whether we're doing, I know we talked about the budget cycle, but I know that most of the community doesn't know what that means. I think parents need to plan. So it would be great if we could say, okay, by whatever date that's going to be, by April we'll know yay or nay, or by May or something, so that parents have to budget for this. If there's, many parents work and have to send their kids to private kindergarten, and I think the earlier we can give them the information and even upfront tell them, here's the deadline by when we'll tell you either way, would be very important.
I can speak, and I'm looking at Chuck, because I believe we would need to make a decision by February. I really believe that we would. Yes. Were you actually going to say February?
I'm not sure if we picked our actual date for kindergarten registration, but it would sure be awesome. It's usually end of February, beginning of March. Tricia's nodding her head, Steven's sort of nodding his head, or are you sleeping? No. That would be the most awesome time, not the drop dead. You have certainly till whenever. But when they come to register for kindergarten, it would be nice to say, this is a full day program, or this is the half day program. Then you have the expectations and people have plans.
And I believe if we set that as a target, there's no reason why we can't make that our target. And then, because we'd really want to take the time to plan it, if in fact it's going to happen, to plan it well, and take the time programmatically to make sure that people know what they're signing up for. And I think that's really critically important. or if not, why we're not doing that. So I think that's really critical.
One final point, though. We started the conversation when we were talking about the comprehensive plan, and the public comment was that the language was sort of general about pursuing, whatever it said, pursuing looking at options or something. Can we update that comprehensive plan to make it a little bit more, meaty, that we're going to look to make a decision or so,
We will change the comprehensive plan to reflect this conversation, that we will explore the possibility, both what I heard was from an educational, a community, and a financial perspective. And we will make a determination to have full-day kindergarten or continue on with half-day kindergarten, with obviously critical perspective as to why whichever decision is made. So we'll have that plan reflect that.
So, we have a timeline as to, we're going to tie our decision in with, as our budget process unfolds. So we have to make a decision by February. When can the board expect, because, I can't make a decision without all the information. This is a huge decision for each and every one of us. So when can we expect to have everything we need to be able to do that?
My goal will be that I would have the bulk of the information to you by your second meeting in January. And then with the final update, the meeting before your voting meeting, the workshop meeting in February, so that you will have an informed decision to vote on by your second meeting in February.
And we're going to get the information beginning next month as it's unfolding?
You're going to get the plan so you know what to expect and when to expect it.
Great.
All right, any other questions around comprehensive plan or comments? All right. I will now open up the podium for any public comments on any other issues. Okay, seeing none, response to last week's comments?
I believe I responded in Dr. Arsenault's feedback, but it will be an ongoing. I believe Dr. O'Toole made a very interesting perspective after meeting with the students. The resolution is going to come in action, not in conversations. So the proof will be in the actions that are taken and the outcomes. So a lot of work is being done by Mr. Flick, Dr. O'Toole, Mrs. Beck, and the teachers that are involved, and some commitments were made to the students and the teacher, and we're following through on those commitments.
I'm sorry I wasn't able to make the meeting last week, but I'm a big believer in dual enrollment programs, and so I look forward to seeing this successful and many other successes, because as I have two kids in college, I saw a lot of kids who benefited from a lot of other schools that had a lot more dual enrollment, so it's important.
And if I can comment, Regina, I understand that some promises were made to students by teachers and not by the administration. I really need to be assured that we're handling that. We have the obligation, the district and the administration has the obligation to our student body. The fact that we have anybody making promises to our students that do not go through our administration first is not okay for me. So I just needed to say that I appreciate every moment our students take out of their lives to come here and speak to us. We have wonderful administrators and who handle so many things in a day. We only get to hear from our students when they think we're not listening to them, and that is not true. I know our administrative team listens to our students, and so does the school board. the fact that they had to spend their time. And the point was well made last week that they have jobs, they are involved, they are doing a lot of things. To think that they had to spend their time in mass to come here and talk to us about something that we didn't create is upsetting to me. So I needed to say that, and I would like to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Thank you. As I shared, much time and attention was dedicated to that, and will continue.
Thank you.
All right, any other board comments?
Oh, one.
November the 6th is general election day. So that is the day to go to the polls and vote. Just an FYI, important day.
All right, motion to adjourn?
So.
Second? All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Have a